So I handed my Formula 3 contract to Nigel Mansell, who still hasn't thanked me for, I could have stayed for another year. He would have never had that drive and never have been spotted by, Colin. Little twists. It's amazing when you look back at things that happen. And then, of course, I got the Formula 1 drive, when Regazzoni sadly had that awful accident. So I was a substitute Formula 1. But I knew I wasn't going to stay for long because they wanted Jan Lammers in. Because Jan Lammers had been a superstar at Long Beach, qualified the ATS 4th place, whereas Regazzoni and the Ensign was 23rd. And I qualified the Ensign 23rd. And the one Grand Prix I did in Zolder shared the back row of the grid with Emerson Fittipaldi.
Wow. No, Tiff, we need to discuss this a little bit. This is Zolder, Belgian Grand Prix, 1980. You qualified 23rd, one place ahead of Emerson Fittipaldi.
You out-qualified a double world champion.
Yes, he was a double world champion at this point. Fine, it's at the end of his career. But a month earlier, at Long Beach, US Grand Prix, he finished on the podium.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In that same Kopasuka, it was called by then. Yeah. Wow.
He came third. So there you go.
And you say he was at the end of his career. He wasn't an old man then. He would have been in his early 30s. He would have been he was in the wrong car. But as a driver, he was in his prime. He was in his early 30s because he was the young. When he became one in the first World Championship, he was the youngest person at that stage to have done it. He was 25 when he won his first in 72. So by 1980, he was 32, 33. And there you were, out qualifying him. Way to go, Tiff.
Not bad.
And then the engine broke. 12 laps.
12 laps.
But
And then, I've got to go at Monaco. But then there were 30, because these days, of course, 30 cars turned up. And only the quickest 24 got on the grid.
The dreaded pre-qualifying.
Monaco, it was only the quickest 20 made it. And in the rain, I was 19th on the Thursday first qualifying. I was 2,000th slower than some bloke called Alain Prost or something. I was in the Monaco
Overrated.
Grand Prix. Then it dried out in the Saturday.
So just give us 1 minute on driving a Formula 1 car as fast as you possibly can in the wet around Monaco.
Just the greatest memory I have. I didn't qualify in the end for the race.
Doesn't matter.
Just the most amazing thing. Actually, I like it. It's interesting. I learned from Monaco how brilliant Senna's are and normal Mansel's are, and how I'm okay but quite good.
Yeah.
Because you go around Monaco and you're arriving at the next corner, and your brain is still at the previous corner. So your body's like 100 yards ahead of your brain. So you're always trying to catch up. God, there's another corner. And gradually, as I did more and more laps, the brain caught my body up. I think it was always about an inch behind me. So I was always... Whereas Nigel says, a classic driver all his life, his brain and body were in the same place.
Yeah.
So he simply reacted. Whatever happened, he had this amazing physical control. He would react. Whereas the Sennas and Schumachers and Hamiltons and Verstappens, I always think their brain is 10 yards in front
They're
of
ahead of it,
Yeah, and that's,
Their brain is not in the corner of the car, as in their brain is already thinking about the next one.
Already into the next one.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing, I always think people say, well, lap times, someone does a good lap time or qualifies. You can still be like I'm a Damon Hill, Graham Hill against Jim Clark or Verstappen. You can still graft really hard. You're not as brilliant naturally as the Verstappen or Jim Clark, but by working hard, you can get the same lap time by a different method. That's what's the fascinating thing when I analyse drivers now. That the grafter or the hooligan style, the sort of Ronnie Peterson or Keke Rosberg style, can still outrace the most talentedly natural driver. So it's a fascinating thing.
And it's really, particularly at Monaco, and you look at Graham Hill, who has this reputation, as you say, of not being the most talented driver, but the guy he won 5 times at Monaco. At the time, I can't remember who beat him, it was Senna or Schumacher, but at the time, no one had got anywhere near that. Yeah. And to do that at Monaco on graft alone is astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah. And Jim Clark never did. Always remember that fact. My hero never won at Monaco. But it is interesting. You can still win races, by getting things, getting it all right by a different method.
Yeah.
And driving a Formula 1 car generally, did the power want to rip your head off? The aero, the braking, the grip?
Well, no, we only had about 550 horsepower.
So it wasn't.
We had full
like
ground effect.
Yeah.
So we had sliding skirts. We had the big cornering G-force. Because at Zolder, that corner where Paul Villeneuve crashed, which now has a chicane in front of it, was the most awesome, long, fast right-hander ripping your head off. Because we had the same G-force, but not the same acceleration. But the cars were a lot lighter, so of course the power-to-weight ratio was, probably made at 550 horsepower, like a 700 or 600 now. So it was quick enough as far as I was concerned.
And did it take you a while to feel like you were getting to grips with all that performance, or did you just have it straight away?
I've always had self-confidence, but, I've always driven not the best car, because the Unipart Formula 3 car had the Dolomite Sprint engine, which wasn't as good as the Toyota, so we never won any races. So it was always a frustration. Now, the touring car period of my life, I had a Nissan Primera, but it had a very slow engine. And only when I got into a Vauxhall Cavalier and bumped into that Nigel Mansell bloke, I think we had a small crash, or maybe he did. But anyway, finally, I was in a car that performed, and all of a sudden I found it so easy. It's like people say, there's nothing easier than being the winner, being out front. When I used to win races, you come home the next day in the office, because I was working for George Wimpey, and you just walk in and said, I won. Whereas otherwise, every other weekend, you walk in, well, I finished third, but I had a bit of a problem with the clutch. The easiest thing is winning. And if you've got a car that's underneath you, and I had a wonderful Formula 2 race at Hockenheim in a March 782 with Tolmans, and it just was me, and I just loved it. And I got the fastest lap. I was going to finish third, and then the bloody thing broke. So it's a funny thing, confidence of being in the right team and getting your most performance.
Yeah.
So I think I put in my book, which isn't available anymore except on the internet, Tiff Gear. I might not have been a Clark or a Verstappen, but I think I'm a lot better than I thought I was. When I actually look back at what I achieved, I'm very proud of it.